Looking for a dish that combines sweet and savory in the most delicious way? Today, we're making a mouth-watering sweet and savory meat stew. Let's dive into the recipe. For this stew, we're using 1 to 2 pounds of lamb or beef with the bone in. I've cut them into nice large chunks, around 3 to 4 inches each. This gives the stew a rustic feel and keeps the meat juicy and tender as it cooks. Now, let's put together a flavorful rub. In a bowl, we'll mix 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of dry ginger powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of ras el hanout, which is a Moroccan spice blend. For a little extra aroma, I've also got 5 saffron threads, which I've soaked in 2 tablespoons of orange blossom water. This step really enhances the flavor and fragrance of the stew. Here's an important part: take your time massaging the spice mixture into the meat. This step isn't just about coating the surface. You want to work the marinade into every nook and cranny, ensuring the spices penetrate the meat. Think of it like waking up the flavors. They'll infuse deeply and make the meat super flavorful once it's cooked. Once everything is evenly coated, let the meat rest for 15 minutes. Now, we'll start cooking. I'm using a pressure cooker to speed things up. Into the cooker, we'll add 2 medium-sized onions and 2 cloves of garlic, chopped in a food processor. Of course, our marinated meat. Here's a little tip: before tossing that marinade bowl, I like to add half a cup of water to it. Swirl it around to clean the bowl and pick up any leftover spices. Then, pour that water into the pressure cooker to make sure none of those flavors go to waste. Let's add some fresh cilantro. Set your pressure cooker to the sauté mode for 20 minutes. I'll also add a small piece of cinnamon stick. This adds a subtle warmth to the stew and enhances the overall flavor as it cooks. Stir everything well to combine. As the heat builds, the onions will soften, releasing their sweetness, while the garlic infuses the meat with rich flavor. Stir occasionally, making sure to scrape the bottom of the pot to prevent anything from sticking. Now, I'll drizzle in 2 tablespoons of olive oil to bring it all together. Next, cover the cooker and select the stew option and let it cook for 35 to 40 minutes. While the meat is cooking, let's get our almonds ready. I'm using 3/4 cup of raw, unblanched almonds. To blanch them, we'll bring 1 cup of water to a boil in a small saucepan. Add the almonds to the boiling water and let them cook for 2 minutes, then, drain them and run them under cold water to stop the cooking process. Once they're cool enough to handle, give them a little squeeze, and the skins will slip right off. It's kind of fun, right? Pat the almonds dry thoroughly with a paper towel. Any moisture left on them can cause splattering when we fry them. To fry the almonds, we'll start by pouring 1 cup of vegetable oil into a small pan. Now, instead of waiting for the oil to heat, we'll add the blanched almonds to the cold oil right away. This method allows the almonds to heat gradually along with the oil, ensuring they cook evenly and avoid burning. Set the heat to medium and let the oil slowly come to temperature. As the oil heats up, you'll see the almonds start to bubble and fry gently. Stir occasionally to make sure they cook on all sides. Once they turn a beautiful golden brown, carefully scoop them out and place them on a paper towel to drain any excess oil. Once the almonds reach that perfect golden brown hue, carefully stir one last time, then remove them from the oil using a slotted spoon or tongs. Transfer them onto a paper towel to drain off any excess oil. Stirring occasionally during frying is important to ensure all the almonds cook evenly and don't stick together. This step also keeps them light and crisp, preventing them from becoming greasy. Just make sure to stay close. Almonds can change color quickly once the oil gets hot. The meat should be done by now. Let's release the pressure and check it out. Carefully release the pressure and open the lid. Oh, look at that! It smells amazing already. I'd like to reduce the meat sauce to concentrate the flavors, but first, let's prepare the prunes so they can soak up that delicious goodness. I'll come back to the sauce reduction in a bit. We're going to use the meat sauce to flavor our prunes. In a small pan, add 2 cups of prunes, about half a cup of the meat sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. This step is optional and depends on your preference for sweetness. If you prefer a more natural option, you can substitute the sugar with 1 tablespoon of honey for added flavor. Now, bring this mixture to high heat for about a minute. Stirring continuously to ensure the spices blend beautifully with the prunes. Once everything is well combined, I'll reduce the heat to medium. Let it simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes. During this time, the prunes will soften, becoming tender and juicy. As the prunes simmer, we'll work on reducing the remaining meat sauce. Set your cooker to sauté mode again for 20 minutes, leave it uncovered, and stir occasionally. This will help thicken the sauce and concentrate the flavors. Now, let's check on the prunes after 5 to 7 minutes. As I remove the lid, you can see the steam rising and the prunes bubbling gently in the sauce. I'll give them a good stir for about 30 seconds, ensuring that every piece is coated with that flavorful sauce. Once they're nicely mixed, I'll turn off the heat. Now, let's check on our meat sauce after 20 minutes. You can see it bubbling beautifully in the slow cooker, which means those flavors are concentrating nicely. I'm ready to turn off the slow cooker. The sauce has reduced perfectly, thickening up just right to coat our meat. This is the final step before plating. Now comes the fun part, plating. This is where we get to present all the delicious work we've done. Start by carefully arranging the tender meat on a large platter, making sure each piece is nicely spaced and looks inviting. Next, take that rich thickened sauce and pour it generously over the top, allowing it to cascade down the sides of the meat. Next, we'll spoon the prunes and their syrup over the meat. Look how beautiful this combination of sweet and savory is. To finish off our presentation, we'll garnish with our crispy fried almonds, adding a delightful crunch, and a sprinkle of sesame seeds for a little extra texture and flavor. This not only enhances the visual appeal but also adds layers of taste that will make every bite unforgettable. Alright, let's give this a taste. Look at how tender this meat is, it just falls apart. The aroma is absolutely irresistible, with those spices and the rich sauce coming together beautifully. You can really see how well everything has cooked. The flavors are incredible. The tender meat, the sweet prunes, and that rich sauce all come together perfectly. And those crispy almonds and sesame seeds add such a delightful crunch. This dish is not complete without warm fresh bread to soak up all that luscious goodness. In future episodes, I'll be showing you how to make homemade bread that pairs beautifully with dishes like this. You won't want to miss it.